Hello, parents and students. I am Mr. Diaz. I'm the orchestra director here at Parkland Pre-Engineering Middle School. This is my second year teaching orchestra, and I'm super excited to be able to teach your students again this year. Last year was a great first year experience, and this year definitely is also. We all have much learning to do. I am learning just as much as the kids are learning as we go through this, but I'm really excited to try to instill and inspire love for music and playing instruments and just the arts in general with your students. So I'm also excited that this year I have Mr. Carlos Barba helping me out for two of my orchestra periods. He's an awesome, great teacher. He helps me out a lot. So I just want to briefly go over how coming back to orchestra is going to look like if you choose to bring your students back to uh, in person, face to face, here on campus. All right. So I just briefly, I have three different slides that I'm going to talk about. The first one, what a day in orchestra is going to look like. So what we're going to be, what the kids are going to have to do when they're in class, and what we're going to be doing, um, the basic stuff, which I'm sure it's going to be implemented all over the school too. So some of this might be repetition, but I want to go over it too. And the second part of it is going to be performances and events. So what we're going to be having and what we won't be having. And then the third one, individual expectations, just what your child is going to be learning in orchestra as we go through this. All right. So on the first one, we have what a day is going to look like in orchestra. Social distancing, right? So it's going to be the basic social distancing that you do anywhere. It's 6 feet apart at all times, right? So we're going to be having some desks here in the orchestra room. They're going to be 6 feet apart. And for the students that play violin and viola, they're going to have to carry their instruments around with them from class to class if they decide to bring them. Um, I'm going to be skipping around some of the details that we have on here because it's all connected. But they'll be bringing instruments on some of the days, not every day. On some designated days, they'll bring their instruments and we'll be able to get some time to play. So if they play a violin or viola, they'll have to carry them from class to class because they won't have time in the morning to go bring their instruments and leave them in the orchestra room. So they're going to have to carry with them. Students who play the cello and the bass, they'll get a chance to bring their instruments in the morning and they'll have a designated spot in the orchestra room to leave them there. Okay, since kids will not be able to share anything, especially instruments, I'm going to set up spots where they'll be able to leave their instruments and only they will be able to use those instruments. And of course, the typical hand washing, sanitizing, wiping down of all the surfaces, right? We're going to have desks in here in the orchestra room. So they'll be having to wipe those down after they're done, after they use them every class. So we'll be doing that. And like I said earlier, students will definitely not share anything. So this means that they're going to have to get their own rosin and the shoulder rests for the cellos and bass players, the rock stops, but something as simple as like pencils, right? And pens, that kind of stuff. They're going to need to have their own too because we won't be able to share those. And then we're going to be setting up a fundraiser to see if we can try to help get as many of the materials as possible for the students so that they, if they can't afford to buy their own, we can help them out with that for like shoulder rests. I know all the violins and violas will need those, and rosin for everyone because that's needed all the time too. So we're going to be trying to work out with that. And in the classroom, basically what's going to be happening in the classroom is we're going to continue all with the laptop mostly, just like in the virtual learning. So if they stay at home, for those of you who've been staying at home, right, we've been doing everything on the laptop and doing assignments like that. It's basically going to be pretty much the same thing if you decide to come to in person. We're still going to be doing the virtual assignments, right, on the laptop because most of what we can be doing is on there. That's we're going to be learning most of everything on the computer. And we're on 1 to 2 days when we decide to do it. We're going to get some playing time. So If you decide to bring your child back to a face-to-face, it's not going to be much different other than what they're already having right now. Um, Differences being, though, that they're going to, have to have their masks on at all times. Um, since orchestra instruments don't require, it's not like band or choir, they don't require taking the mask off. Kids will have to have the mask on at all times. And we can play instruments with those on the days that we have that. So they're going to have to be 6 feet apart at all times, have their masks on at all times, and they won't be able to use the restroom during transition times. So those are some of the differences if you decide to come back in person. And let's see, playing instruments, right? Like I said, 1 to 2 days on designated days. I will let them know which days they can bring their instrument to see when we can kind of get playing a little bit after we're done with the assignment on the laptop. And all the playing is going to be done through the program Smart Music that we've been using. We're going to get into that more of that. For the beginners, they haven't used that too much yet. So we're going to be getting some practice with that. And if they whenever they bring their instruments, they're going to have to leave their cases with them next to their seat at all times. We don't want personal belongings lying all over different spots. So that's what that's going to look like. For performances and events, for the fall semester, right, we already know we can't have any concerts or performances. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get a virtual concert going, either individually, like we'll have some individual performances, or maybe try doing in small groups. It just depends on how much time we have and how much where the students are at, because I know it's taking us a little bit longer to actually get to the playing part. So that might take us a little bit longer. So we'll see about actual putting anything together for that. For the spring semester, we don't really know anything yet. Things change all the time, so I'm hopeful in the spring semester we can get some actual performances in concerts, because I know that's why the kids love being in all the ensembles, the music groups, because they actually get to perform. So I'll be hopeful for the spring semester, but we don't know yet. And for all region, some of your students that would do all region has been canceled, so we're not going to worry about that or do any of that. And UIL contest, which is usually in the spring, again, we'll see what happens then, but I really hope we can get to that. Might be different because usually we would already start practicing a lot of the music for that, but we haven't been able to get a chance to start that. So that'll probably look a little bit different. We'll see how that works. On this last slide, just a little bit of what your child has been learning so far and will continue learning, right? The main focus is really going to be individual musicianship. So since we can't really be together in an ensemble, usually in an orchestra, we all work together and we put our parts together. Since that really can't happen, since most of us are virtual and everything is just with all the social distancing, everything's just so far apart. We're going to focus on really making the individual musician the best we can as possible. Okay, and that's so important because in order for the ensemble to be really, really good, we need to first focus on the individual. So we're going to be doing a lot of that. Individual performances, we're going to try to, I know a lot of times the students get nervous playing by themselves, but now it's going to be different because we're going to get a lot of practice to play by ourselves at home using smart music, recording it on there. So then my goal is to hopefully, once they get enough practice at that, then they won't have a problem performing individually by themselves. So that can be a really good benefit to this also, is becoming really good independent musicians. Some of the other stuff we're doing, right? Music theory and fundamentals. That's just basically all the building blocks to music that we have to learn in order to be able to perform. So a lot of that has nothing to do with actually playing your instrument. A lot of it is on the online stuff that we're doing. So it could be anything from like a melodic and rhythmic dictation, where we play rhythm for them and they learn to, oh, that's this rhythm that I hear, and they're able to identify those. The same for different melodies. But we're going to be practicing a lot of scales and music terms because those are really important in being able to know what we do with music. Finger patterns for all of our string players. We have specific finger patterns that we have to learn, which tie into the different scales, and of course the proper instrument posture, because um, we can playing with good posture is what really helps us produce good sound. And we're going to be using smart music that the district purchased for the students. And the Breathing to Theory is another platform that we purchased with our budget to help the students practice all this music theory and fundamentals. And we're also going to be doing some music history, which is really, really cool. I love history myself. And I think when the kids get to learn why the music was written, the music that they're playing, just all the background to it, I think it's really good for them. And some of them really enjoy that. So we're going to be doing some of that. Here, I just have contact information. Please don't ever hesitate to shoot me an email or call the number here, the orchestra room. I'll answer that number. And I also have the band app, which some of the parents have already signed up, and a lot of the students have signed up, but not everyone just yet. If you sign up for that, I can send announcements pretty easily through that, and then you could always just message me through that too. So please go ahead and sign up for that band app, which will make the communication so much easier. But please don't ever hesitate if you have any questions or anything, just to let us know. Mr. Barba's email is also there in case you ever need to get in touch with him. And now, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and pop into the Meet link that will be provided and ask us through there. Okay? Thank you very much.